Anchors up, sells it full. Welcome to the Sloopcast. How are you doing today, Kyle?
Doing all right, Jared. Doing all right. How are you doing today?
You know what? I'm doing okay. My camera's still goofy. I'm going to stop playing with the camera, though. I promise. Kyle, we had a bye week for Ohio State, so we're starting this Monday with a Collegiate Chaos. Stick around on Tuesday, and if this is already Tuesday, or maybe if it's Wednesday, go check out the Tuesday episode. We have some conference realignment conversation to go over, which I'm very excited about. It's literally my favorite topic to talk about ever. So make sure to tune in for the Tuesday episode if you weren't already planning to do so. And oh, by the way, it's a new tradition. It's a good tradition.
Care if I join in on that?
Oh, please do. Noise gate off if you didn't already. Did you have your noise gate off? I didn't hear it.
I did.
Maybe it came through on your recording. I didn't hear it.
I did.
Okay.
I got this from Trader Joe's. They got some Oktoberfest coming out, so
nice.
Love me some good land grant.
Yeah. It's a hoppy American wheat. It looks to be unofficially associated with the crew. I'm going to say unofficially. All right. Kyle, it is.
Yeah.
Collegiate Chaos.
Collegiate Chaos. More souls from Team Chaos this week?
I would say there was not a true... I would say that there is not... Oh, by the way, there's the art for our Tuesday episode coming up in the Discord chat version of the YouTube video. I would say there was not a true chaos game this weekend.
I feel like the theme so far, 3 weeks here, even though yes, there's been some
unless you're Florida State
chaos here. There's been some team chaos here and there, but I think for the most part it's team chaos kind of knocking on doors.
Yeah.
Almost
it's
happening here.
It's a very September thing, though, for good teams to almost lose to bad teams and then like blow them out in the fourth quarter. That's just a very September college football thing.
Yep.
That being said, Kyle, Tulane did beat Florida State this weekend, and not Tulane, Memphis. Memphis beat Florida State this weekend. And the fact that we are not considering that chaos is peak chaos if you're Florida State. Like the fact that just doesn't even count anymore. That's bad news if you're Florida State.
No, it doesn't at this point here, but a lot of other teams here let's just jump right into it then. A lot of other teams came close here. We'll start off.
I brought the sloop picks up again. God, I have to quit doing that. These are the sloop picks.
Wow. 0-7 from our guests last week.
Spikes, you were one of two people. And you're currently in the chat, and you're one of two people. So you're half responsible for this, Spikes. Ofer. The chat went over. Now, Kyle, I wouldn't be talking too much.
No.
And by the way, I was only two better. The important thing to take away here, first off, Georgia, what are y'all doing? Every single person in our online sloop picks, which we run through CBS Sports, every single person picked Georgia. That did not turn out well for the server. But Kyle, I'm now 2 games ahead of you. I may have only went 2 for 5 this weekend, but I beat you, and that's all that matters.
That's okay. It's only 3 weeks here, so we're
3 weeks of chaos theory, still no hits.
And it doesn't matter who you pick. It does not matter who you pick. Every single ranked team that played an unranked team has won.
Yeah. I'll say this, Kyle. Your team at least got close.
That happened again this week.
Your pick at least got close. Of the 3, Ole Miss won their game handedly. Oregon won their game handedly. Oklahoma at least struggled for a while before eventually pulling away. But, like, it doesn't count for anything, but you had the best pick of the three.
It still doesn't matter because we didn't get any points here, but we digress and move on to our grading chart here. So for those not seeing our YouTube video here, we have our board S, A, B, C, and M tier. Just to remind everybody, S tier is favorites to win it all. A tier is playoff teams. So a combined S and A tiers for us would have to be 12 teams, not 11, not 13, 12 teams.
Yeah.
Then we have the B tier, which has the playoff bubble. C tier is everyone else, and M tier, massive disappointment, which can we put Florida State even lower than M tier at this point?
No, that's exactly where they belong. Like, the only way you get lower is if I delete them. But this is the shame table. This is the dunce corner.
Maybe you can shrink them. Maybe you can shrink them
just make it smaller. No, I feel like it's more punishment to be like loudly and proudly in M tier.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's start with S tier. Yeah. Let's start with the S tier. We have Ohio State, Georgia, Texas, Alabama. Ohio State's the only one that was on a bye week of those four this week here. I guess let's start with Texas and Alabama. Texas just takes care of her business in their game against University of Texas of San Antonio, the Roadrunners. I think the biggest question out of this game here, not so much that they beat them 56-7, but it's with Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers goes down. In comes Arch Manning. Looks pretty good. Some iffy throws here and there, but it's fine. It's fine. He's gonna do what he needs to do to score points and all that. So I don't think Texas is still one of the four best teams in my mind. So
AP moved them up to number one after this week.
That's fine.
Yeah.
AP doesn't matter, but that's fine.
It doesn't. And I'll say this in case there's, someone out there watching this for the first time. You see that Ohio State is what some people would call first in our S tier. Our S tier is not ranked. You are simply in the S tier, or you are not in this. I say like, I try to move some of the better teams to the left for C tier, just because it makes it easier for me to find them. But again, it's not even a ranking. There's no rankings within the tiers. You're either a member of a tier or you aren't. There's no ranking within the tiers. Yep. At least not yet. We get later in the season, we start looking at some. Mm-hmm. All right, so Kyle, Bama.
Alabama. So Bama. I started off slow, but I mean that's credit to Wisconsin.
Sure.
Wisconsin, I think, started off with a field goal, took the lead, but Bama's depth took over, which is what I expected it to be.
It's what I predicted it to be. If you listen,
complete
listen to the
dominance, 42-10
picks.
So those two teams, S tier. I don't have any.
Ohio State bye week remains an S tier. Georgia had a struggle game against Kentucky. And some people are going to be like, well, Kentucky's actually pretty good. Kentucky got their doors blown off by South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Who in turn lost LSU this weekend. And LSU lost to Notre Dame. And Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois. And as we all know, that's good sound logic. It's not good sound logic. But you get my point.
Yeah. But I mean, it's Georgia did get the win there, but I don't think they deserve to be moved down unless you see anybody that did well this week that
they had a struggle
to be replaced Georgia.
Well, first off, we don't have to have 4 in S tier. Like we could move someone up into S tier and not move Georgia down.
Okay. All right. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. Last year, 4 teams in S tier. That was the rule, but we don't have a 4-team playoff anymore.
Fair enough.
But yeah, they had this, I mean, and Kentucky is not a great football team. They're still an SEC football team though. You know what I mean? Like they had a bit of a struggle game against an SEC team. That's fine. Like Ohio State had a bit of a struggle game against a much worse Akron and whatever. I'm not going to hold one little struggle game against Georgia.
Yeah, agreed. Let's just go just how we have it listed here again. It doesn't mean this is the order that we think they are, like ranked 1 through 12, but
sure.
Miami is next on the list here. Miami takes care of business over Kent State, 71-0. They scored 37 points in the first quarter, 28 in the second, and then 3 points in the third and 3 in the fourth.
Yeah,
absolutely nothing in the second half, which is whatever. It is. They did what they needed to do.
Yeah, amazing showing from Miami. Is Miami even the real deal? Kent.
Is Miami the real deal with Cam Ward taking the helm here?
Listen, 71-0, even against a team as bad as Kent, is nothing to be scoffed at. Especially as Kyle pointed out, almost all of those points were scored in the first half.
They've taken care of everybody on their schedule.
Yeah.
When Florida 41-17 manhandle takes care of business over Florida A&M 56-9, 62-0 just this last weekend. When are they going to be tested here? They play South Florida. I was about to ask you that. They play Virginia Tech, then California, then at Louisville.
Louisville is the first.
And only.
And only?
They then play Florida State, Duke, Georgia Tech, Wake Forest, and Syracuse.
Georgia Tech's not bad, and Syracuse isn't bad. I mean, we're just trying to figure out who the heck Miami is. Those 3 games should at least give us a better idea than what we've seen so far.
That's not going to tell us until middle to the end of October here. So,
yeah,
I think at this point we keep Miami where they're at right now.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Ole Miss is next here, 40-6 over Wake Forest. They started off with a great first quarter and just cruised the rest of the game there. Likewise, Ole Miss. What do we think of Ole Miss here? They haven't really played anybody. I mean, like Ohio State, they haven't played anybody so far, but they've taken care of business. Shut out Furman, only 3 points against MTSU, only 6 points to Wake Forest here.
I mean, yeah. Again, they're doing what they're supposed to do against who they're supposed to do it against. But like, we already talked about what Miami's schedule so far is way better than what Ole Miss has played so far.
Mm-hmm.
So it's what it is.
They do play Georgia Southern, then Kentucky, South Carolina, LSU, and Oklahoma right in a row there.
I don't like any of those teams that much, if I'm being honest with you. Oklahoma has struggled against some lousy teams.
But they do play Georgia in November. So
there's that. But that's a pretty light schedule by SEC standards for Ole Miss.
It is, yeah. I mean, yeah, no Texas, no Alabama. Yeah.
No Georgia until late.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll keep an eye. We'll keep an eye on Ole Miss. Tennessee has looked really good.
Yeah. Tennessee only let up 3 points to Chattanooga, only let up 10 to NC State, and shut out Kent State this last weekend here. Like Ole Miss, they're doing exactly what they need to do here.
But I think I said Miami beat Kent before. I was confused. But it's fine.
Their offense is just really good. Is Tennessee finally finding their groove where they're actually going to compete for an SEC championship here.
I mean, it's really easy to look at Miami, Ole Miss, and Tennessee and put them in the same bucket. As far as like teams who have always had a lot of hype, but not ever really delivered at the end. Now, Ole Miss, you could certainly make the argument that that's because they've played in the SEC West for so long. They're kind of like the Penn State of the SEC, where they're going to really enjoy not having to be in, the Big Ten East or the SEC West. So a real winner as far as divisional realignment. Tennessee, the East had, always been the easier one, although Georgia has, taken over as the premier program in the SEC, at least for now. So maybe not. Point is that, Miami, Ole Miss, Tennessee, these are teams that have historically had a lot of early hype, but not really delivered in the end. And so it's really hard for me to not just say, let's play a waiting game with them.
Yep.
USC was not in action this weekend, but Missouri.
Missouri was.
Yeah,
they
Missouri
played was. Boston College. They played Boston College, which gave. Yeah, it was a good game. It was
respect to Boston College on that one.
17-14 at halftime, and yeah, it was a very defensive struggle in the second half there, and Boston made a game. Boston made it a game in the fourth quarter. Missouri did win 27-21. I still don't know about this Missouri team. They shut out teams the first 2 weeks here. They get a good win against Boston College this weekend. All of these SEC teams here, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Missouri, they're doing what they're supposed to do. I just don't know them until they actually play some tough opponents, which most of these don't play until a little bit later in the year here.
Austin, I think it was Austin, asked me during the social screen in the Discord server, he goes, does this mean that Missouri isn't as good as we thought, or that Boston College is better than we thought?
Only time will tell.
Well, my snap reaction was that Boston College is better than we thought. By the way, I literally spoke Austin's name, then he showed up. Hi, Austin. But my snap response in that moment was that Boston College is better than we thought.
Yep.
That's I don't know if I like Missouri more than I like Miami, Ole Miss, and Tennessee, but I trust them more, if that makes sense. Like, I think I saw them be really good last year against really good teams and not fall apart towards the end. I have a little more faith in Missouri than I do in the three previously talked about teams.
Okay. Oregon actually finally had a good game this year. It took them like 3 games.
They looked like the Oregon we expected to see earlier in the year.
I thought this was going to be a really close game here, and it was. At halftime, I think Oregon was up by 8, but Oregon State was shut out in the second half there. So, yeah, this is the Oregon we were expecting here. Now, will they continue suit here as they start their Big Ten opponents here? They do start off with UCLA, Michigan State. Not going to really find out, but it's that October 12th date that we're really going to find out about Oregon.
Yeah.
And about Ohio State too.
And about Ohio State. Yeah, because I think the question is, it's like, with Oregon, it's just like, okay, so who's the real Oregon? Is Oregon the team we saw this weekend, or is Oregon the team that we saw the first 2 weekends? And, they have some, new quarterback, they, maybe in a bit of flux. So maybe it's taken them a little bit to, what's the word I'm looking for? Congeal into a team to catch their rhythm in this new form of the Oregon football team. So, are they just naturally erratic? Are they only going to show up for big games? Were they just knocking some rust off in the first 2 weeks? These are questions we will remain, we'll keep an eye on Oregon as the season goes.
Yep. All right. And with that, we're going to go ahead and take a quick ad break here. Be sure to head on over to thesloopcast.com where you can find all of our lovely links to our Discord server, or you can just head on over to discord.sloopcast.com, or you can head over to our YouTube page, which is youtube.thesloopcast.com. Just plug in product.thesloopcast.com. It's going to bring you to where you want. If you want to skip these ads, head over to the patreon.thesloopcast.com to become a patron to skip these ads. And with that being said, we'll go ahead and take a quick ad break and be right back.
Or we can take a quick bad break. Quick bad break sounds like fun too. Hey, we're back from the bad break. All right, Kyle. Utah
is next here. Kind of a tough battle against in-state rival Utah State. They did pull out in front in the fourth quarter, 38-21, but it was really close going into the fourth quarter there.
Yeah. Austin said down in the chat, I think for now you got to move Utah for Kansas State. And that's I think we need to have a conversation as far as like, if you look at our S and A tier, it is made up of basically SEC teams, a couple Big Ten teams, and then one ACC team and one Big 12 team and one Group of 5 team. And I think we do need to revisit, maybe not right this second, or maybe right this second, depending upon what Kyle's in the mood for. We need to revisit. Do we still think that Miami should be the sole ACC representative? Do we still think that Utah should be the sole Big 12 representative? And do we still think that NIU should be the sole Group of 5 representative? And to Austin's point, Kansas State dominated Arizona. They got to replace Utah for now. I think that's a good argument. I don't know if we're...
Yeah,
or do you want to have that conversation now, Kyle?
Well, let's
or do you want to keep going?
Let's look at the body of work real quick here. I don't want to spend too much time because we got a lot of teams still here. Kansas State has the better win here over Arizona, 31-7. Utah's best win, probably Baylor. I would say probably Baylor, where they won by 11, 23-12 there. So, yeah, I would say for in our week 3 here, yeah, let's swap the Wildcats with the Utes for this week. This is always changing. So for week 3, I feel comfortable putting Kansas State there.
I would say that Miami. Any objections to keeping Miami in for the ACC? The only other conversation I think to be had would be Louisville, because I don't think Clemson's a good option, and no, I think that's
at this point now.
Yeah,
at this point now.
Absolutely, I 100% agree. But I felt like it was appropriate to ask. And do you want to talk about the Group of 5 now, or do you want to save that for later?
Yeah, the last one we have is Northern Illinois was our Group of 5 to make it in here.
I'm about to ask the saddest possible question. I'm about to ask the saddest possible question. Do we really care that Memphis beat Florida State?
No. Florida State's 0-3.
I know.
No.
I know. Listen, I knew the answer to that question.
So here's
wild that I not only that I had to ask, but that's the answer.
Memphis stays on B tier. They stay where they're at. Just they're one of the better Power 5 teams. So the teams right now, it's just mentioned Memphis, Boise State, UCF, and Northern Illinois, in my opinion here.
Okay.
Would be, I think the teams to...
What about UCF?
Yeah, UCF.
But they're Big 12 now.
Oh, they are Big 12. That's right. I keep forgetting about that.
Yeah.
Mm.
So they would have to replace Kansas State, which I don't think we're going to do.
Right.
Although we could have a conversation about moving UCF up into B tier, not A tier, but the B tier.
So Boise, Northern Illinois, Boise, and Memphis.
Can I ask about UNLV?
Sure. What do you want to ask about?
Do they belong in B tier?
Yeah, I think they do. They beat Kansas this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
They beat Houston in week 1, and they dominated week 2 over Utah Tech, 72-14.
I mean, if they beat Utah Tech,
I would say sure, put them in B tier.
Yes, Austin, we'll find out B tier for B tier.
We'll find out in 3 weeks. We'll find out in a few weeks here. Actually, maybe in 2 weeks here. They do play Fresno State, which, if anybody remembers, gave Michigan a run for their money in week 1 there. So maybe we'll see something there, but definitely that following week where UNLV plays Syracuse.
Kyle, can I ask you about San Jose State?
No.
No?
I don't know. Sure, but no. We have to kind of. I have to stop you there because there's a lot more teams we have to talk about, Jared. So.
Okay. I am going to move them over into that column, though.
Okay. Penn State was on bye week. They stay where they're at. Clemson was on bye week, I believe, as well. Yep, they were on bye week, so they stay where they're at. We talked about Utah moving down to B tier. Syracuse. I don't think Syracuse was in action, weren't they?
I don't think so.
I'm looking. Nope. They are too many. A lot of teams were off this week here.
Very popular bye week.
Yeah. Nebraska. I
did what they
don't believe.
No, they did, but they played an FCS.
They were. Yeah, they played Northern Iowa 34-3.
Good job.
Good job. Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State was off. I'm almost certain.
I don't
remember hearing anything from Oklahoma State.
Nope. They beat Tulsa. 45-10.
There we go. That keeps them right where they're at. LSU. Definitely played this weekend.
Don't you remember?
Probably should have lost to South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. I'm slow playing it, Austin, which pisses off Kyle, which is why I do it. That just keeps them right in B tier. I think that makes them a very B tier team.
They have one loss. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing:
if they lost to South Carolina, yeah, I would definitely move them down to C tier then.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. If not M tier, But anyway, we're not going to have a hypothetical conversation about what would have happened in that case. Coastal Carolina, Liberty, UNLV. These are, along with Boise and Memphis, our group of 5 representatives.
Coastal Carolina almost lost this weekend.
They did. But they didn't.
What about Arizona?
Arizona had
B tier?
I would say no. They were non-competitive. They didn't just lose, they were non-competitive.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I would agree. You can move them down to C tier. They got to show me more. They got to show me more to be in B tier.
They lost some players, they lost their coach, although their coach Their old coach also lost this weekend. Kyle, what about Toledo? What about Toledo? Okay.
You brought up Toledo. You bring the case of why you want to move them.
They destroyed an SEC team this weekend, and they're 3-0. Now, granted, that SEC team was Mississippi State, which is kind of like beating up, but still a MAC school.
I totally missed this game.
A MAC school obliterated an SEC school. I kind of feel like we should move them up into B tier.
You know what? Just because we love them, we love some action. Sure, let's move the Rockets up to B tier.
Can I make a rocket sound while I do it?
No. Because the noise gate is on, you're not going to hear it.
Oh, did my rocket sounds not come through the noise gate? I hope they did.
No. The best team in blue and yellow in the country.
Notre Dame might have something to say about that. I mean, it's like a gold. So
yeah.
Okay. All right. Best blue and yellow team in the country. Sold.
All right. I'm not going to go through all the C tiers here, but
no.
Is there anybody that is in C tier you would like to move up?
I think there are conversations to be had. I'm not going to fully jump on the Indiana train yet. I think we can keep an eye on Indiana for now. I don't think we need to move them up yet.
Question. Can I, even though they were on bye week this week, what about the case for the Cyclones?
So we probably do, along with UCF, we don't have a lot of Big 12 representation, and that's like the definition of the playoff bubble, right? That's the definition of the playoff bubble. We need more Big 12 teams. A Big 12 team has to get in. We currently have, because we just kicked out Arizona, in the top 3 tiers, Big 12 teams include Oklahoma State and Kansas State. That's it. I think we need some more Big 12 representation in the playoff bubble. And I'm okay moving both UCF and Iowa State up.
Sure. I'm good with that too. I'm fine with that.
Now, as far as ACC we already by the way, this is a thing I wanted to come into this podcast with. I wanted to expand B tier because we needed representation from the other auto qualifiers, right? So I think we needed representation from the group of 5, which we've done. We brought in UNLV and Toledo. So I feel like that makes me feel better there. We've brought in Iowa State and UCF for more Big 12 representation. That makes me feel good there. As far as the ACC is concerned, we have Miami, we have Louisville, we have Clemson, and we have Syracuse. I feel like that's appropriate, yes? I feel like that's appropriate ACC representation. All right. Now, technically, Kyle, Washington State also group of 5 non-conference auto I assume that Washington State could qualify as the non-qualifier conference, right?
Give me the case for Washington State.
Well, they're a Power 5 quality school who can steal the auto qualifying spot away from a group of 5 school. They cannot? Oh, they fall under the same category as Notre Dame. Interesting.
So they got to be a top 12, and they got a long ways to go here. Yeah, they did get the big win over Washington this week, and their schedule does not help them. The rest of the week. They need a lot of help. I think at this point, Washington State, in my mind, stays where they're at until teams start losing, and then they start moving their way up because of teams losing. That, in my mind, I think that's the only way for like Washington State.
I don't like Leach, for the record. I mean, you said Kyle, but I don't like that person. I know he's dead now, but I don't follow the rule of not saying ill of the dead. I think he was an asshole. So I already said I don't follow that rule.
The only other team that we don't have in B tier that I want to mention here, there are, how many? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 Big Ten teams. Why don't we add a 6th into the playoff bubble?
No.
No? Even though they're undefeated?
I don't think that's good enough for the Big Ten. There's already so many Big Ten teams.
Even though on their record, even though in their schedule, they beat a 19th ranked team.
Are we talking about Indiana right now?
Nope, I'm not.
Are we talking about Michigan State right now?
Nope, we are not Michigan State.
They're also undefeated. Yeah, they're. Yeah, I know you're not talking about Cal. Cal just, not Cal. UCLA. You're not talking about UCLA. They just got destroyed by Indiana.
Try again.
No, you're not talking about Iowa. No, you're not talking about Michigan. No, you're not talking about Minnesota. Minnesota already lost.
Nope. You're running out of teams here, Jared.
I am running out of teams. Wisconsin just got their face kicked in.
Northwestern's 2-1.
Yeah, Northwestern is not undefeated.
There's two other teams that's undefeated that you haven't mentioned about. Rutgers and Illinois.
See, I brought up Illinois last week and you told me no.
Well, now I'm bringing up Illinois now.
But here, this is a totally not a fair argument, but I'm going to make it anyway. They're Illinois.
Well, here's the thing.
Exactly, Spikes.
They may go right back to C tier next week. They play. Who
do they play
next weekend? 8:00 on Fox. They are heading on over to Lincoln, Nebraska, to take on the Cornhuskers.
Why don't we leave them in C tier for right now, and we'll put them all the way on the left, and then after Nebraska, we can decide what we want to do.
Or you can just keep them there because you already moved them there.
You know what? Fine. All right.
I don't have any other teams that I think should move up or down. Do you, Jared? Or does chat?
I kind of brought up Washington State and San Jose State, and you shot me down. So I look forward to you bringing them up as options next week.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. We got 2 recommendations for M tier. Who lost other than Florida State? I'm seeing double me. Who
Photoshop crashed?
Who lost big or lost that they shouldn't have this weekend? Is there anybody here? Kentucky for punting on 4th and short.
Did we really have expectations for Kentucky? I mean, that's kind of the rub of it, right? Like, you have to fail.
So who did we have high expectations that should be going down? We didn't have high expectations for Florida, so I don't think Florida goes down to M tier.
Absolutely not. The answer has to be Mississippi State. Okay, again,
was there expectations?
But he's talking specifically about getting rolled by Toledo. And I get it. But at the same time, M is literally called massive disappointment. I don't think we gave a shit about... Was Kentucky preseason ranked even? lose by 30 to a MAC school. I know, but it's Mississippi State. Who gives a shit? Like, I don't feel like there's a scene in The Simpsons, right? There's a scene in The Simpsons where Krusty the Clown is telling Sideshow Bob that you can't hit a man in the face if he's already dressed like a clown with a pie, because he has no dignity to lose. You have to hit a man in a suit with a pie, because then you take his dignity away, and that's where the comedy is. There's no comedy in hitting a clown in the face with a pie. Mississippi State's just a clown. Florida State was wearing a nice 3-part suit. It's funny when we hit Florida State with a pie. But Jared, every team in the SEC is great.
If Mississippi State had a lot of hype around them and that they were going to do well and potentially be a playoff bubble team, then sure. But there was zero expectations in my mind from Mississippi State.
M tier is a notorious labeling. You have to fail expectations. It's sort of like, how to say it? It's sort of like when you aren't expecting an ad break and then I give you an ad break. But you can avoid those ad breaks by going to thesloopcast.com or patreon.thesloopcast.com or discord.thesloopcast.com. It's only $3 a month to join up for our Patreon. All right. You guys got. Let's just acknowledge that you guys got. And oh yeah, you got bad. Oh, that's a good point. You are patrons. You didn't actually get the ad break. So who really got? Everyone else. That's who. All right, Kyle. Any other additions, subtractions, adjustments we want to make here, or are we happy with this being the week 3 tier list?
I think this is good. I'm just looking at all the other teams. Is there anybody else worth bringing up or anything? No, I think this is good. The only other team that's currently ranked, again, AP and Coaches Poll doesn't mean anything, but
okay.
In both polls, the only team that's ranked that we do not have an S, A, or B tier is the Aggies.
There's like 17 Aggies, Kyle. Are we talking about Texas A&M?
Texas A&M, yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's stupid. Why would anyone have Texas A&M ranked right now? Cal could win the ACC. You think so?
Anybody could win the ACC.
That's a valid point too.
Syracuse can win the ACC.
Well, not Florida State. Florida State can't.
Not Florida State, no.
I mean, technically they can. They haven't lost an ACC game yet, right? Yes, they have. They lost to Georgia Tech.
They are 0-2 in conference, Jared.
That's right.
Their first two games were
both ACC. I forgot about BC. I'm not gonna lie. I forgot about BC. 0-2 can still make it, I think. Well, with the ACC this year,
maybe.
I mean, because all you got to do is beat the second team to get into the game, and then maybe beat Miami. But unless they got a quarterback that I don't know about sitting on that bench, I don't think it's going to happen.
I mean, currently, if you're looking at the ACC in terms of standings, the only undefeated team with the best in-conference record is the Fighting McCords.
Okay. I mean, we have Syracuse in B tier.
Yeah. I don't got anybody else. Anybody in chat you want to bring up? Anybody? Well, I see a Sneaky Cow in B tier, which we just mentioned here. Any other teams? Duke's undefeated.
Yeah, undefeated doesn't carry that much weight in week 3. Let's be honest. All right, that's it. that's I'm gonna call that the end of the episode. Unless, do you have any Ask Sloopcast lined up, Kyle? If not,
I do not.
Do you have anything? Okay, do you have anything in Kyle's corner?
Lot of there's a lot that I want to talk about regarding all the things with the Pac-12, but we're gonna talk more about that in Tuesday's episode here. But other than that, no, I don't. Ohio State opens as a 40.5 point favorite over the Thundering Herd.
Nice. I think it was Austin that posted it in our anti-Michigan channel, where the Ohio State-Michigan game is up to a 20-point favorite for Ohio State. 19.5?
19.5, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And rising.
No, that's it. I got nothing else, Jared.
All right. Tonight's ending music is I think they're from Ohio. I couldn't actually confirm this. They are part of an Ohio record label. And I couldn't find that they weren't from Ohio. But their only Bandcamp presence was through Flower Pots Records, which is a Ohio-based record label. So I think they're from Ohio. If not, they're called, the name of the band is called Younger. The name of this song is Blast Off. So with all that being said, I'd like to encourage everyone to drink local beer, listen to local music, and of course, support your local podcasters. Once again, this is Younger.